leader of the National Democratic Party, Dr. Deolando Smith, other members of the National Democratic Party, the residents of the 2nd Electoral District, residents of the other districts throughout the territory, those listening to us by radio, television, and the internet, a pleasant good evening to you. I am most grateful for the opportunity to be here to speak with you this evening. Today, in our country, the call for change is louder and more powerful than it has ever been in the recent political memory of this country. We stand on the brink of our greatest opportunity to change the collision course that this country is on.
Yes.
We have an opportunity in a few months to set it right and move our country forward in the best interest of all the people of the Virgin Islands. And I say to you tonight that we must seize that moment.
Yes.
My friends, the country that we live in today is much different than it was years ago.
Yes, it is.
We have made some positive steps as a people, but we have also taken some steps backward.
Definitely.
And if left unremedied, these negative steps will change the social and economic landscape of this country.
Yes, sir.
The United States of America have what they call the American dream. The dream that life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to a person's ability or achievement, regardless of what family they were born into, which side of town they're from, or even if they were challenged when they were young. I dare to say tonight, and I'm sure that you will agree, that these values are also values that we in the Virgin Islands hold dear to us.
Yes.
We are losing our BVI dream and we must get it back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The economic power and control of this country years ago largely resided in the hands of the people of these islands. It was something that we felt proud of.
Yes.
When we looked around the Caribbean, the BVI was perhaps the last remaining country where the locals played a dominant role in the economic advancement of the island.
Yes.
Yes.
Today, this legacy is under attack.
Yes, sir.
And it is under attack by those who we entrusted to protect it.
Yes.
It is important for our leaders to understand that whether you are rich or poor, young or old, VIP, NDP, or independent, we all must have the opportunity to make it and make it big in the country of our birth. My fellow Virgin Islanders, if we can't make a good living for ourselves and our families here at home, then tell me where else in the world can we make it?
Exactly.
It is the hope of some people that the passage of time will make us forget most things. But we cannot forget all things. We cannot forget this government's blatant disregard of the empowerment of its people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Though the debates may have died down on the Bywater matter, it is something that we should not forget. What has happened to our local brothers and sisters is wrong. It is un-BVI.
Yes.
And it turns our BVI dream squarely on its head.
Yes.
Once our people have the resources and the know-how to do any job. Let me make it clear and say it again. Once our fellow Virgin Islanders have the resources and the know-how to do any job in this country, they should be given every opportunity to do it. This has to be the guiding principle of anyone who aspires to lead this country. And this is the guiding principle of the new National Democratic Party. You should not take from your own and give to others. You should not make others richer and make your own poorer.
That's right.
Regardless of whatever political side that you are on, if you truly have the well-being of this country at heart, when you sit down all alone, undistracted by the partisan politics, you will say to yourself that this whole by water thing is wrong. It is a cardinal sin, and no government or politician should be rewarded at the polls for selling us out to rich foreign interests. Because if they can do it to your brothers and sisters, they will surely do the same thing to you. If it's one thing in this country that we can say that we produce is water, and they all held hands singing Kumbaya in our administration complex and give away what we have to rich foreign interests. It is wrong. This is wrong, and no matter which way you look at it, a government taking away opportunities from its own people is a government unworthy of your support. We often speak about the fact that we are being outnumbered here in the Virgin Islands. That when all the other nationals of other countries are combined, we are in a minority. And we are right. I say to the leaders of our country that if this is the case, shouldn't we ensure that our people are the primary benefactors of the economic development and activity in this country? After all, as they say, he who controls the economy controls the politics and controls the direction of the country. Shouldn't the principle of economic empowerment be the great equalizer for all people? For how much longer will we pull out the red carpet for others and then pull out the red tape for our own? How many local businessmen or ordinary citizens can say that the government has ever backed a loan for them at the bank? How many contractors in the BVI can say that they ever had a contract with government without the need for a certificate of good standing or some kind of background check to see if they are financially capable of fulfilling their obligations? How many local businesses can say that they have enjoyed the benefits of duty-free concessions under this government? Yet almost every foreign investor gets something or get concessions sometimes without even asking. At this present time, there is a movement afoot to chase out the vendors out of Rotown without any consideration for a suitable alternative site to enable them to continue to make a living for themselves and their families, while at the same time providing a valuable service for this community. 3.5 years ago, or 3.5 years later, there has been no resolution to the situation with the vendors at the cruise ship pier. But now they're being called a disgrace, and they're being told to pack up and move without any solution to a suitable alternative site and facility where they can continue to make a living for themselves and their families, while at the same time enhancing our tourism product. What are these vendors supposed to do in this hard crop time if they just get thrown to the side like that. In case you all didn't notice, leaders, life is hard in the Virgin Islands for the ordinary folks.
Yes, sir. Hard.
But my friends, while we take care of our own, it is important for us to understand and remember that we should make life better, richer, and fuller for all our people, not just the chosen few. We must all get our fair share. I am concerned that the government contractual work seems to be going to the same set of people all the time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Every time you read the news or you drive through the districts, you see the same set of people getting big contracts and still fighting the so-called small man for the small contracts.
Yes, sir.
We must build a country where there is equality and fairness for all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That is what good leaders do. We cannot have a chosen few benefiting all the time while the others are left to linger on the sidewalks wondering where the next dollar is coming from.
Yeah.
That is not right.
Yeah.
Similarly, you cannot have one district benefiting while the other districts are left undone.
That's right.
This is poor leadership. I know that the time is drawing nigh where we as a country would have much more passion in our politics. A very wise man told me at the basketball game on Saturday night that passion is something that can be someone's greatest asset, yet at the same time, it can be one's greatest liability.
That's right.
I humbly suggest that we not allow our passion to cause us to be blind to the realities and great challenges that are presently confronting this country. Around this time, the masters of deception start to operate.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And they twist the facts. They turn them upside down. They turn them left. They turn them right in an effort to confuse you, the voters. But this election, I would like to let them know that the eyes of the people of the Virgin Islands are wide open. And we will see right through all the distortion and misuse of the facts.
Yes, sir.
We had a visit quite recently by Mr. Colin Roberts of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. Mr. Roberts stated that the BVI was managing its affairs well and that we have weathered the global recession and the decline in financial services and tourism from North America rather better than many of the other independent states and some other countries in the Caribbean, and better than most of the other overseas territories. Now, I would like to pay tribute to the past and current leaders of this country for all that they have done. I think it's only right and proper to do that. However, I have some serious concerns, and my concerns rest not in the words spoken by Mr. Roberts. My concerns lie in the deliberate, misguided spin that is being placed on the remarks from the good gentleman.
Yes, sir.
It is being said that Mr. Roberts said that we're number one. A statement designed to take our eyes and our minds off the myriad of problems that confront us and the government's inability to solve those problems.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. Roberts was assessing this country's performance in light of the global recession and the resulting difficulties that ensued. He did not make a blanket statement on the financial standing of the country overall. He didn't do that. He was also comparing our performance during that period to the other countries in the Caribbean and the other overseas territories. That is what Mr. Roberts was doing. He went on to say that some of our Caribbean counterparts were having financial difficulties. They had assistance from IMF and the UK and so on, had to provide support to some of them. He was not at all referring to the overall quality of life in the BVI at that time.
No, sir.
And it is unfortunate that persons are trying to stretch the meaning of his comments to suit their objectives.
Yes, sir.
To those of you listening to me who are expecting to ride the wave of election victory on the back of Mr. Colin Roberts, I would like to tell you now to wheel and come again.
Yes!
Let the work that you have done speak for you. If Mr. Roberts was talking about the quality of life in the BVI, then he would have to do a number of things. He would have to examine the failing infrastructure in this country.
Yes, sir.
He would have to examine the terrible condition of a road networking system.
Yes, sir.
He would have had to examine the fact that we have raw sewage running in the streets of this country. And the fact that it has created a health hazard for all our residents.
Yes, sir.
You would have had to examine the fact that we continue to suffer frequent water outages and some residents have to take a bath in a 5-gallon bucket of water.
Yes, sir.
You would have had to take note of the fact that there's open burning of trash at Popwood Pond and the health hazard that is created for the people on the western side of the island and to our neighbors in the USVI.
Yes.
You would have had to take note of the fact that our residents on Virgin Gorda and the other sister islands do not have adequate health services available to them.
That's true.
You would have noted that Virgin Guardians, for example, who are sick, are placed on a stretcher at the back of a passenger ferry like cargo to be brought to the Rotong dock. The situation is even worse for other sister islands. I am calling on the government tonight to immediately forego what is expected to be a very expensive and unnecessary fence around the Elmo Stout High School.
Yes. Yeah.
And instead purchase an equipped or medically equipped sailing vessel or helicopter to bring our ill residents from the sister islands to Peebles. Mr. Roberts would have had to examine the crime situation on the island and the increasing number of murders, robberies, and burglaries that we are presently experiencing.
Yes, sir.
And just as a matter of correction, the responsibility for internal security does not rest entirely with the governor. It rests with the National Security Council as provided in our new constitution.
That's right.
This council has as its members 2 cabinet ministers. I heard a legislator in the House the other day, poor fellow, saying recently that he has to speak with the governor about his concerns with the crime situation. Well, he need not go to the governor. He could just turn and speak to his colleagues because they, along with the governor, are responsible for internal security. So crime is a problem for this government, not the governor. Mr. Roberts would have to examine the problems with our youths. The fact that they feel neglected and left out. The fact that a growing number of them are on the street corners and in prison, rather than being prepared to take up their rightful place in society.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You would have had to take a look at the fact that BB Islanders are losing their homes almost on a weekly basis.
Yes, sir.
Poor Mr. Roberts. You would have had to examine the fact that some 21% of people residing in the BVI are living below the poverty line.
Yeah. Do that.
You would have had to examine the fact that the cost of living in this country has taken simple staples out of the reach of the ordinary man.
Yeah.
You would have had to take note of the fact that unemployment is on rapid increase in this country. And we have more students graduating from the high school and college who be looking work.
Yes, sir.
If Mr. Roberts was taking the quality of life in this country into consideration when he made those remarks, Mr. Roberts would have been in Tatola all now.
Yes, sir.
He couldn't do that in 3 days.
No.
So clearly he wasn't speaking about the quality of life.
No.
As we look to the future of this country, fellow citizens, I ask you to consider your future, and especially your children's future. The path this government continues to take this territory on will take us back to a time of dependence on external forces, which this country has long outgrown.
Yes.
We need a government that will take this country forward in a positive light. One that remembers the self-determining values of BB Islanders. I am confident that with the leadership of the National Democratic Party, we can once again steer our country on a path of prosperity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We need a government that has good reasoning and logic. One that understands the importance of priorities.
Yes.
One that has focus and understanding. Qualities which have seemingly long abandoned this government.
Yes, sir.
My God.
I am asking the people of this country to restore hope and prosperity to these Virgin Islands by electing the National Democratic Party in the upcoming general election. I am asking for a vote for myself and my colleagues, even those who sit in the audience. Things are so bad in this country that we have to fix this country from bottom up.
Yes, sir. That's right.
My name is Walwin. That's a W. You're going to be somewhere at the bottom of the ballot paper. So you look for Walwin, you put an X, and you fix things from the bottom up. Start there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you look for the symbol of the family all the way up.
Hallelujah.
Thank you for listening and have a good